Be Araelius is actually me, and I took the Be because it's actually my government name. I just incorporated it 2 times. So, you know, I like to say the boy's so nice they named him twice, so that's where I got Be from. But Araelius, I took that from like an old Roman historical moment in time. It was an emperor. He was outcasted from his position. He was supposed to be the emperor. A situation occurred. He became a slave. He had to fight his way back up into the ranks of superiority. He sacrificed his life, but he killed the crooked guy and took back over, but he wound up dying. So that's sort of like the story of my life. You know, I was dethroned from my position that I had. I went through slavery of incarceration in a period. I had to fight my way back out to get back in my position of superiority, and I plan on taking over. So that's where the Araelius part come from. I took it all, intertwined it, and incorporated it together. So that's Be Araelius. That's sort of like film production and all my novels and stuff. But that's my hobby. My passion is business development and corporate financing. And Touchscreen Films and Entertainment is my home company. We also have another company, Tycoon Development Group. It's a private equity investment firm / business development / consultant firm located out in Beverly Hills. But Be Araelius, what you see is what you get. What got me my case was actually in the feds, you know, anybody can say anything. It's like hearsay is permissible. So I was caught up in an alleged drug conspiracy based on hearsay. Someone mentioned my name and pulled me into their conspiracy and got me indicted, and I was convicted and sentenced to an extensive amount of time based on the unfair draconian crack laws, which Congress knew was unfair, but they sentenced me to a lot of time for that. Firearms was involved, and you know, throughout the years of my incarceration, at first I was a little bitter because throughout my trial, I knew it was insufficient evidence and inconsistencies. The testimony was conflicting and all that, but I learned throughout time that in every adversity lies a greater benefit. And over the years, all my friends, so-called friends, they fleeted and withered away like dying flowers as time progressed. I really didn't have too many people there for me. My family was there, of course, my mother, my brothers, my fathers. I had a few friends, Miss Richardson. She pretty much stuck by my side, made sure I had all the things that I needed to progress in areas that I needed to polish. And it was a very dark, cold, and lonely period in my life where I figured, I promised myself that I was going to utilize that and channel that energy into something positive and come out a better person than when I went in. Now, incarceration these days, you know, it's basically just men doing time, men and women doing time. Like, you really can't get rehabilitated because there's basically no programs. The programs that they do have are frivolous and moot. And by the time I was released, I was over-elated, I was happy, I was ecstatic. It almost seemed like it wasn't real, but I knew that I deserved to be free because I never deserved to be incarcerated. And with my freedom, I plan on using it to my advantage and becoming successful and helping a lot of people out in areas that I can help them. I want to be a productive member of society, and I'm ready to contribute to a positive cause. If I Live to Tell is it's an urban story about a character named Z. His name is Zorro the Mask, but they call him Z. It's an urban American story about a young African American. He grew up in the hood, where everybody grew up in the hood, this urban African Americans. And somewhere along the storyline, he takes a turn and indulges in a life of crime. He's pretty much connected to the entertainment world, but the streets is calling him. So he ventures off into a life of crime. He indulges in robberies, murders, and somewhere he's incarcerated. He goes to jail. He becomes politically educated. He comes home a political activist. He has to open up an orphanage for kids because that's his mission. But he needs the money to open up the orphanage. So all the money that he spent in his life of crime, he don't have it. So he has to go out and get the money for the orphanage. He has to commit another bank robbery. In the process, he's critically wounded in a shootout with the federal authorities, and he flatlines. But I'm not going to tell you all the story, but I'm just giving you pointers. But the moral of the story is, you know, it has a positive ending. You know, we as black African American men and women, you know, we've been tricked out of our knowledge, and you have to trick them back into it. So I sort of like put a twist on it where I'm tricking you back into positivity. It has a good message at the end. And at the end of the day, we all want to live to tell our stories, hoping to hear crowds cheering for us someday. Because one thing about America is we know America loves a great comeback story. Well, I was inspired to write the story because I had just wrote a previous novel, and I sort of liked the way writing felt. To me, the ink pen was like a place of solace for me during my incarceration. It was where I found peace. I felt wanted, you know, and a purpose. So if I live to tell, I pretty much took all my feelings that I was feeling that I had bottled up, and I expressed what I was going through in my life at that time through the ink pen. And I kind of like felt like writing was my calling, because I used to write a lot of letters to friends and family, and everybody used to say, baby, you should write a book. You should write a book. And at the time, I used to be like, I can't see myself writing no book. You know, I was from the streets, you know what I mean? I did a lot of bad stuff. I had a reputation that preceded me. I just couldn't see myself writing a book. But through all the time, you know, time makes many things of men. And it actually made me a writer. So that's pretty much why I was inspired to write the book. The feature film is actually, as I just was explaining, is based on the novel. In film, every page is a minute. So, of course, naturally, the film is not going to capture everything that's in the novel. The novel is more extensive, but the film, we're currently working on it. We're in pre-production stages. We have JF Group as our financial capitalists and main investors in the project. We expect to have a $3.5 million budget. We're working with Rick Rove. He's part of our team from Alpha Media Entertainment Group. We currently did our casting at Grindhouse Studios. They're also involved in the project. We're working with Miss Cindy Lane from Icons Incorporation. She's a wonderful woman. She has a modeling company. She does makeup. She's just inspired me so much and showed me so many things to do. Miss Zubaida Richardson, she's an actress. She's played in a lot of movies. She's been in Down to Earth with Chris Rock, Click with Adam Sandler, Norbit with Eddie Murphy, and we have my homeboy Ray. He's part of the marketing and promotions department. And hopefully we should be filming the end of February, beginning of March. We should start principal photography. And The feature film, we're looking forward to giving them a blast. You know, I'm hoping for If I Live to Tell to be a classic. Well, When Death Smiles to be a classic. Sort of like the next Menace to Society or Boys in the Hood. But I like to promote it with a twist. It's like the new Menace to Society, Boys in the Hood, and Ghosts, as strangely as it may sound, Ghosts all intertwined. It has a hell of a plot. I think the people's gonna like it, they're gonna enjoy it pretty much. Some of my long-term goals is, well, you know, naturally you can't have long-term goals without short-term goals. Over the years, I basically formulated a short-term, mid-term, long-term plan projected from 2 years to 10 years. And I see myself in the end long-term, 10 years from now, at least about 5 to 6 of my projects published and produced, from my novels to my feature films. And as my hobby, that's what I like to do. I like to write. It's my career choices. I'm also a private equity investment group / business development / consultant firm owner. The Tycoon Development Group. That's another one of my companies. Me and my man Jamal Simmons, we partnered up on that and created that company. I see myself in 10 years somewhere over in the south of France, maybe Saint-Tropez, anchored in 20 miles off the Mediterranean Sea in international waters, 82-footer yacht, relaxing on the deck, me and my wife, my son, my daughter, you know, just relaxing under the sun, enjoying life. Well, I would like to tell all aspiring writers that the hardest part about writing is starting. Like, you got a lot of people, like during my incarceration, a lot of people came up to me, they seen that I had a published work, and they would say, man, baby, man, I want to write a book, I want to do this, I want to do that. And I would just simply say, well, why didn't you do it? If you want to do something, you're going to do it. So the start is the hardest part. Just pick up the pen, get the story out of your head onto the paper. You know, as you writing, the story develops, you can polish your characters and dialogue later on down the line. And for people that like to doubt themselves and say they can't do this, they can't do that, I'm a living example of what you can do, even against all odds. Like, I started out from nothing. They took everything from me and locked me in a cage, and I developed myself into a writer. So anybody that's aspiring to write, because in prison, there's so much talent, so many good people, good brothers that are struggling, you know, against the injustices and the unfairness, like the draconian crack laws, where Congress knew that the crack laws was overinflated and fluffed up and affecting hundreds of thousands of African-American families and lives. That, you know, the writers can overcome these adversities by expressing themselves, because everybody has a story to tell. I would just say keep writing, you know what I mean? Get your story out and finish it, you know, because you never know what the Almighty got planned for you at the end of the day. Now, we also have a mobile app for worldwide distribution for all urban literary works. So for people that write urban stories or even mainstream stories that want to get their literary works published, they can download our apps, you know, and get their stories through the Android, the iPads, any electronic devices where you can read the stories that you can download it through our app. We're working on that now. It's in development so that people can get their stories told worldwide through this app, you know, and just keep writing, man. You'd be surprised what the sun might bring when it rises tomorrow. If I Live to Tell, the novel, for all the people that's going to support my project, which I ask that you support my project, because I work pretty hard in getting this project out to the world against a lot of adversities and odds. I think it'll be a good story, very entertaining. You can actually get it from Amazon.com. You can go online and order it from Amazon. You can also go on www.touchscreenfilms.net. You can purchase it directly from the website through PayPal Deposit Collection Agency. We have a mail-in order. You can order it. You can write a money order to Touchscreen Films and Entertainment, LLC. The address is 1626 North Wilcox Avenue, Suite 1157, Hollywood, California. The zip code is 90028. That's where you can purchase the book at.